Welcome, everyone, to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about baseball, dreams, and family. I'm John Gonzalez, the dad. And if you're new to the podcast, it's a dad and his three sons talking about the game they love. You're in for a special treat today. I should say we're in for a special treat because we get to talk to our hometown baseball teams, the West Michigan Whitecaps. The boys grew up going to games there, and, I grew up taking the kids there, and it's a lot of nostalgic memories for the whole family. Unfortunately, two of the three sons can't make it today, but we got son number one, the oldest. It's Zach Gonzalez, all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great. Always a good time talking baseball, so let's do it.
Talking baseball and talking Whitecaps, right? Zach is our Mariners baseball fan, but the Whitecaps are the High A affiliate for the Detroit Tigers. And joining us from the ballpark, from LMCU Ballpark, is Steve McCarthy and Jim Jarecki, general manager and president. How you guys doing over there?
Doing good. Just getting through this renovation at the ballpark. Can't wait to go. I mean, we're 31 days away from first pitch, and looking forward to having those Detroit Tiger prospects back here at the ballpark this summer.
Well, Zach and I want to talk prospects for sure, but Steve McCarthy, last time we were there, what a beautiful day we had recording a podcast there, overlooking the stadium. It was sunny and warm, and it was good to be at the ballpark with you.
Yeah, it was good to have you here. We look forward to those times once again. We need that sun scheduled for April 4th, and I have it on good accord. It'll be there. So we're counting on some nice weather for the spring.
Well, the Whitecaps will open up on Friday, April 4th, the same day that the Tigers have their home opener at Comerica Park. That doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, not a lot over the years. It's sometimes a day before, day after, but recently Major League Baseball's been starting even earlier, sometimes into late March, and we don't quite stretch into March, so it has been quite often a week difference. But yeah, this year they align, same day.
So Zach, you and I were talking about off the air there that the Tigers, had this incredible run at the end of 2024, made the playoffs. And a lot of it was because of their prospects, these young players. And Zach, I know that you follow minor league baseball and you follow, up and coming hot prospects. You must have been impressed with the amount of players that went through the Whitecaps to get to the Tigers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like it really starts with Riley Green, and he's kind of set the tone and is kind of like bringing up these next, because he went through it, and he's kind of like the next star face of the franchise potentially, and he's kind of been a real leader for all of those prospects that are on the way. So really exciting times for Tigers fans who are able to see Riley Green in West Michigan. And one thing I wanted to ask you guys is this prospect bobblehead series. I mean, a bobblehead for Max Clark, Wenceel Perez, and Jaden Ham, like, how cool is that? I don't know if I've ever heard of minor league teams doing a prospect bobblehead series. Do other teams do this? Are you guys the first to do it? How cool is that?
No, obviously a lot of minor league clubs do that. They jump on the prospect list, and we've been fortunate the last couple of years to have and those guys in the lineup like a Torkelson and a Dingler and a Parker Meadows, and stretching it like last year Colt Keith. I mean, it's a fun thing to be able to do, and really what's really more exciting is the fact that most of these guys, this is their first bobblehead that they're going to be getting. Obviously the Max Clark one coming up is very exciting. I mean, people are already buying tickets for that date. And then Wenceel Perez and Jaden Ham, who came out of nowhere last year. But it's always fun to be able to promote those prospects. And then, obviously you want them to jump at that next level. But, by chance, if they're back here on the bobblehead day, it makes it even that more exciting for the fans to get the autographs.
You got to sneak in some autograph bobbleheads, though. You got to have Max Clark sign maybe 10 of them and put them on that huge table to see who can get the golden ticket. No Kevin McGonigal, though. I was a little surprised. He's been awesome.
Save something for next year. Come on. It's not all going out in 1 year.
That's true. That's fair. Well, more prospects to come, too, so that's a good thing,
right.
too.
Yep.
The history between the West Michigan Whitecaps and the Detroit Tigers goes back to almost the very beginning of the franchise history. You were lucky to get on with the Tigers early on after starting with the Oakland A's. Jim, you've been around, and Steve as well. But Jim, I mean, you and I remember those early days, and going to Tigers. It was a little risky there. The prospects weren't, they weren't making the top 10 list or the top 100, and it's been a rough go for many years to get some prospects coming through and playing ball at the Whitecaps on their way to Comerica Park.
Yeah, it's funny is I still have some letters that Lou Chamberlain passed down to me as far as when we switched over from the A's. Remember in 96, first 3 years, 94, 95, 96. 96, we're coming off a Midwest League championship with the Oakland A's. Well, the Tigers became available, but as you said, those were not some very positive years that the Tigers were having. And, the letters that we got saying, how could you do that? Why would you do this? The Tigers are not good. But, deep down, we knew that this is a Tiger town. And when we had the opportunity for the Tigers to move to us as an affiliate, we jumped on it. And since 1997, and I still remember the opening day, it was an hour and 50-minute ball game on a, great afternoon against Wisconsin. That's when Robert Fick, out of nowhere, started his legacy of, what he did with the Whitecaps. He hit a home run, and we won 1-0. And actually, that one of those days, we missed like 3 on-field promotions because the day before the pitch clock, but it went so quick that, we missed a couple promotions. But, since then, 5 Midwest League championships to add to that one we had with the Oakland A's. It says a lot for what the Tigers have done. And then also when you look at the list of prospects that have come through here, and, Zach, to your point, last year, we had 15 guys, former Whitecaps, that were on that playoff roster. So it's one of those things where come out to the ballpark, come out to LMCU ballpark and see these guys. When you see Colt Keith, Dylan Dingler, Tarek Skubal, Jason Foley, on the field, and 2 to 3 years later, you're seeing him at Comerica, and it has that real good attachment to what minor league baseball and what West Michigan means to the Tiger system.
Yeah. What do you think changed for the Tigers, the franchise, and what changed along the way? Because the drafts have been pretty incredible. The trades have been pretty incredible. I know Zach wants to talk about some recent trades that have already paid off for the Tigers. But when did you start to see in the franchise history, when the Whitecaps, when you started seeing the legitimate prospects coming through, and what the Tigers might have done differently at the minor league level?
They focused on the minor league system, as a lot of major league ball clubs have done. Free agency can only get you so far, and there's only the handful of teams that can spend that type of money. So they really focused the energy, the coaching, the analytics, which the Tigers really were one of the last teams to incorporate those things. But they started to do that probably about 6-7 years ago. But now it's every day. It's about the analytics and the metrics, and they're having a lot more rovers coming here. But it's the focus on the minor league system and letting these guys play together. Similar like, the 84 Tigers, you saw, how Trammell and Whitaker and Gibby, those guys all played together at the minor leagues, so they brought them up. So it's kind of a retro feel in that case to let these guys play together to earn some playing time. But it's also the aspect of focus, put the money on that aspect of growing these guys in the farm system, teaching them about Tiger baseball.
Well, I give a lot of credit to the Tigers with what they did with Jack Flaherty, a guy coming off injury with the St. Louis Cardinals, getting traded at the deadline to the Baltimore Orioles, and then going in as a free agent. Tigers signing him to a one-year deal, kind of like, let's see what happens here. This guy has shown he's been electric in the past. Maybe he's got a little something that he can do for us. Was awesome in the first half for the Tigers. Kind of really paved the way for Skubal and let those guys go out and have fun. And then the Tigers trade him to the Dodgers, and he goes and wins a championship with the Dodgers. The Tigers get back Trey Sweeney and Jose Briseño, and then they sign Jack Flaherty back with the Tigers. Like how perfect is that? And when is the roster going to drop for the Whitecaps? Because I really want to see Briseño, his power at LMCU ballpark, if he's there.
Well, we won't know until the end of March. Spring training has its a couple days of games here with the Tigers. And, obviously as they place the guys at the major league level, and then the domino effect. But early indication is that he should be here at LMCU ballpark, as well as along with Max and Kevin. to start the season. I mean, when you look at some of those guys, they're young. Everybody forgets about that. They're 20, 21 years old. I mean, think about when we were all that age, what we were trying to do or what we were doing. But that's the early indication. And if that's the case, man, bring it on, because we're ready to open up these gates.
Let's go.
We brought the power alleys for them. So you talk about it, seeing some home runs. I think these guys will be excited with the new dimensions of the outfield.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. What are the new dimensions?
Yeah, so we're pretty similar to what we were down the lines. We're 327. We went about 4 feet deeper in center field. I think we're 406 from 402. It's really the power alleys that I mentioned here that I think we're 375, right?
370.
370, 375. So both of those brought in. We were a fairly symmetrical arc before, and now we have a lot more straight lines out there. And so I think you're going to see some pop, especially over left field and right field now into the bullpens.
Was that so you could do the like the lap all the way around behind the fence for the fans in the future when all the phases get done to do that? Was that part of that?
Partially. Putting the bullpens over the right field fence had something to do with it as well, and not making sure that we placed those properly and still had some outfield room. So it's all part of the master plan, the whole layout there, and so it all had to kind of work together. We also took some direction from the Tigers, and they gave us some input on where they wanted the dimensions to fall to. Having some similarity to Comerica Park is not a bad thing, so they can get a feel for how these guys are going to play at higher levels. So you'll notice it kind of reflects that kind of feel too.
I know we're going to talk a little later in the show, maybe off there even, about some more of the updates on the construction project. And you guys purchased AJ's Fun Park over there. Now it's going to be called Game Time Fun Park. Zach, you and I spent many hours there in the batting cages, haven't we?
Oh, and on the mini golf course. Totally.
That's going to be a lot of fun and a great addition to the experience at LMCU ballpark. But let's get back into the prospects, because I remember, Steve, when you took us through the clubhouse last year. In fact, folks, if you want to go see that video, it's available right now on our Big League Dreaming YouTube page. You can find the video of us getting a tour of the clubhouse with Steve. And I've seen you've taken other media through there recently. It's gotten it's even closer to being completed. I think it is completed, right? It's all done.
Clubhouse is complete. Yep. Phase 1 is complete. So all of the amenities that were probably just in its finishing stages when you walked through, the weight room and the batting tunnel, that is all complete now as well, and ready to receive those prospects here at the end of the month.
Yeah, but I remember seeing Max Clark's locker and like the tons of mail that he had and all the gear that he had waiting for him. What did it just continue like that the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's a phenomenon is what I would say. I've never, in all my years in minor league baseball, I've never seen a player draw so many people. And his social media is incredible. It's really a side business for him. And what he's done in high school and then now as a pro, I mean, he's got his own little side business going. But the effect that he has had on, baseball is just so positive. I mean, here you got a kid from Franklin, Indiana, with all the tools possible. This could be a once-in-a-generation type player if everything comes together and he avoids injury. You guys know the whole story behind, what it takes to make it. But he's done an incredible job. And, as popular as he is, on the field, he's popular off the field. And he's got a good head on his shoulders. And it's very impressive to see a guy be able to handle so much of the popularity. After games, he was signing, as much as he could for the fans, and even before the games, on the field as much as he can. Very approachable, and he gets it. That's the thing on the business side. He gets it. I mean, his own line of batting gloves, his own line of apparel, T-shirts, and shorts. I mean, he's getting after it, and it's good to see that he's got some good people behind him, and he's surrounded himself with some good business people.
Well, Zach, I think as the baseball follower that you are, you notice, just like I noticed, that Tigers take a little different approach with Mr. Max Clark versus Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, I mean, But I feel like it's also a personality trait too, right? I feel like for Max Clark, just kind of his whole, I don't know, swag, whatever it is, his whole everything he's got going on is so effortless to him. It's just like the person he is, and you can see that even if you haven't met the guy, just seeing how he carries himself on the field and engaging with the fans and things like that. I didn't get to see Torkelson play in person at the Whitecaps, but I feel like Torkelson just felt like more of a pro. I'm going to stick to my stuff and, focus on the game and things like that. Whereas Clark just looks like this kid out there. He looks like a little leaguer just out there having an absolute ball. That's awesome.
Jim, I'm sure you and Steve got a chance to see both players up close. What do you think about Zach's assessment there?
You're right on a couple things. I mean, the difference there is you got 4 years difference. Torkelson went to ASU, went the college route, but obviously 2 first-round draft picks for the organization. And, I think that's a perfect description about what you see from a kid coming out of high school at age 18 as opposed to a guy coming out of college at 22 where, he got maturity came, in those 4 years at ASU. But I think Torkelson's obviously a little bit more quieter than Max, but very, quality baseball players for sure. And, you said, Zach, you only saw him a few times. We same thing here. I mean, if you remember, we only had Spencer and Dingler here for the first month of the season. And, he came with some high expectations and, shoot, if we didn't lose him too early in the season. But on the other side, we see with Max, what he can do. And he came in, end of July last year. And, like I said, we're looking forward to, having him here for the upcoming start of the season.
And then Kevin McGonigal, too. I came out and watched him practice last year, and I could not believe how smooth he was. Zach used the word effortless, right? McGonigal's like that. He's a player that just, like, you look at him and you're like, wow, that the game comes easy to him.
Yeah, can't disagree with that at all. I mean, again, young guy, but the raw talent's there. And if we're seeing it as fans, that the Tigers are really on top of that. So I think they want to keep those guys together and developing together. So we hope to have both for a while.
Yeah, he's kind of flying under. He's kind of flying under the radar with Max around, and he doesn't mind that. I think he's more of a quiet guy. He's kind of like the Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan type of thing. But I'll tell you what, they are very high on Kevin McGonigal to the point of could be just as good as Max. And like you said, he goes about it quietly, and we're looking forward to seeing the development of him coming off his broken hand last August. But he's well healed and doing well in spring training right now.
Well, I know Zach has a few more questions. My big question for you is, what I love about the Tigers and the relationship with the West Michigan Whitecaps, by the way, based in Grand Rapids, and we didn't mention it before, is the fact that these instructors come, like Alan Trammell knows his way around the ballpark, right? I mean, he knows you guys. You're saying hello to him. I mean, he's there all the time.
Yeah, he is. And, to see him out there in uniform, and it's, some of the best stories of the fact is that he's out there working with these guys who, obviously these players haven't seen him. They never saw him play. But they get to call their dads and they say, hey, I was just working with Alan Trammell. And the dads get more excited about the fact that they were able to learn from Trammell. But, it is so great to see Alan Trammell come out here, Lance Pierce come out here, Kirk Gibson's been out here. And not only from the player standpoint so they can see what Tiger history is about, but from the fan standpoint where they can at least say hi, maybe get some autographs of these guys. And they come here, they love West Michigan, they love the ballpark, and it's just great that the Tigers are utilizing these guys to carry through the tradition and then also the baseball smarts. I mean, some of the smartest guys I've ever talked to are those guys that I just mentioned about the game of baseball and also, the game of life too, because they've grown up in it and they appreciate what they've got and what they're doing.
Jim, you must have felt like a proud papa back in late summer, early fall when those Tigers went on that incredible run, to see those guys that were just in West Michigan either this year or just not too long ago.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Tarek Skubal, who was here at rehab, I mean, here it is, basically arguably the best pitcher in baseball right now, but here's Tarek Skubal, here at the ballpark and just talking like you and I are talking right now. And, to see those guys go up, and because the hard work that they put in, you see them out here at 1:00 in the afternoon for a 6:35 game. They are putting the work in, and it was a great run, an unexpected run too, which was more exciting than we could have asked for.
All right, Zach, why don't you wrap it up here with any questions you might have?
Yeah, I'll just say my last question. I mean, I can hear the excitement in your guys' voices for this upcoming season. And you guys have been at this since 94, 95, 96. Is this still just like the most exciting time of the year? Just like the last week before opening day week. Like, how pumped up are you guys right now?
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. I think opening day is always incredibly special, no matter what, every single year. It's always the day that fans anticipate because we've been months without baseball. And especially, this year, as we mentioned earlier, coinciding with Tigers opening day, it really baseball kind of hits at once. So the build of, the snow is melting, the sun starts to peek out, the pitchers and catchers are going, and then the position players come, and it just starts to snowball. And it really seems like March in particular goes really fast. And for us this year, you layer on the added excitement of delivering an upgraded fan experience. And I think, for us, yes, there's just so much anticipation. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of work to be done here to make sure that we're ready for opening day, but we will be ready. And we're really excited for fans to walk into LMCU Ballpark on opening day and just take a look at the new field and, new sod, literally new field, and the new field dimensions and the hospitality terraces and the new places that you can walk around here and catch a view of the game, the new lawn area, things that just didn't exist before. I think just checking out the game from new perspectives is going to be worth seeing in and of itself. So no doubt, a lot to be excited about. The new team coming together too. We mentioned a few names here, but there's a lot of surprises that'll come our way too at the end of the month. And so we'll be talking about them. There's just there's some really fun things.
I mean, we're on our third and fourth generation of fans, if you think about that. And it's an incredible achievement of the stability and what we've had in this market. And that's one of the exciting things that gets me going is that this ballpark has changed. It's going to be a different look, but it's, in a way, that's what's great about it is that now we can start recreating some memories or, bringing new people in here that haven't been here before that they're going to have coming for their first time. And it's just something that baseball does, what a baseball park does. And, not being from here originally, I'll tell you what, Grand Rapids, West Michigan, it's one heck of a sports market that we're very, very fortunate to have here. And, this affiliation that we've had with the Tigers and being here since 94, it's something special.
Steve, real quick, can you give us an update on the construction? What will people notice when they walk in the doors on April 4th to see that first game against Dayton this year? What are going to be oh my gosh, I can't believe this, I can't believe that.
Yeah, I think it's going to look like a big league field ballpark. I think when you walk in, you're going to notice that there's just a lot more built up around it, and it's going to look. The desire was to make it look like a brand new facility eventually when we're done with all the phases. And after finishing phase 2 here, a lot of that has been accomplished. I think you're going to walk in, you're going to see these group terraces that are sitting where the first and third base lawns used to be. And the lawn is going to be located on the other side of the bullpens, which are in right center field. And so just different perspectives is where you're going to see. You're going to see a big wall, something that you would see in a major league park down the left field line. It's going to create some interesting caroms and some interesting calls on foul balls because there's an elevated concourse over there. I think you're also going to see, a lot more programming for groups. We do a lot of corporate hospitality. And so those seats, those tables, just drake rails, a lot of different places to watch the game. You are in left field and right field, respectively. So if you're in any of those areas, you're going to feel like you're part of the game. We do have an expanded protective netting that's going all the way down to the end of the seating now to reflect Major League Baseball rules. So even though you are more or less on the field, where what used to be kind of foul territory, you will be protected from foul balls. I think that's really important for fan safety. And then also just really starting the path of different ways that fans can enjoy the game. So we've had drink rails in the past set up in various points. We're expanding that. And so I think you're going to be able to walk around the concourse of the park and just stop at different places. We also have a public place with picnic tables, something that we've kind of lacked here. If you just want to grab a meal with your family and sit down before you go to your seats, we're going to have one of those areas as well that provides a little bit of view from the game, but just a cool area to sit down.
Now, the 360 won't be completed this season, right? Is that the next phase 3?
Yeah, that'll be the next phase. Yep. So it is expanded. You can walk all the way now at about 23 feet in the air out to the left field foul pole and grab that view from, if you've seen what it looks like through the manual scoreboard, it's similar to that. It's a beautiful view. You've got some shade there. There's actually a drink rail as well. You walk all the way out there. You can pause for a minute and get a great view in. And then you go out to the Pepsi Stadium Club, kind of where the lawn area is. But yeah, we haven't quite made that connection. That's in phase 3.
What's your capacity this year? Is it
We're
up or
going to be
down?
back 9,000.
About
So
9,000?
we had some limitations with the lawn and some areas still under construction. We were down a little closer to 8. So now we're back up to 9,000. And really, the desire isn't to have this 15,000 capacity stadium. We think we're right at home here, right around 9,000. So even when we build out, I think there's just going to be more room for walkability and a lot of kind of, I wouldn't say standing room, but if you just want to come to the park and take in views from a lawn area or a drink rail or maybe a sitting drink rail, something that's just, available for general admission, there's going to be a lot more of that. So we may creep up a little bit. We may creep down a little bit because I think space is valuable. Kind of like we've seen with the 4-top tables, that enhanced experience is highly valued by fans. And so we just want to give them what they want.
How many 4-top tables do you have right now?
We have 30 tables.
30 tables that are behind home plate, which have really turned the best seats in the house up behind home plate. And we'll have other 4-top chairs around in the terraced areas because those are very well received. But, this is the best thing about it is we have a whole bunch of different areas, if you will. If you want to sit in a traditional box seat, you can do that. If you want to spread out and stand and watch and walk around, I think we're hitting many different categories and demographics and generations that allow you to really have free flow out the ballpark. And, a lot of that's changed. I mean, before it was like put 11,000 seats in there and sit next to somebody, 2 inches away that you never knew and you're never going to see again, to now spread it out, be able to socialize and be able to, catch a pitch here and there, but be here for the experience. And, we have so many options available that, I think people are really come to enjoy this and look at it in a really different perspective and, again, see a different ballpark when they come out here.
All right, one last thing. What are each one of you looking forward to the most in the 2025 season?
Man, for me, it's got to be opening day, and it's got to be the wrap up, the conclusion of all the work that we've been doing for the last 4 years to put this ballpark into the state that it's in. So it's it goes back again to when Major League Baseball said, "Hey, we need you to upgrade your facility standards," and they set a high bar for it. And so we will have checked all those boxes for Major League Baseball, and then went beyond that to deliver on some of the fan expectations and upgrades. And so for me, I think the signal of throwing the gates open and letting fans come in here on opening day, it means that we will have done that and delivered to the fans what we have hoped for.
Yeah, I think similar to the same thing, and then the continued wrap up after opening day where people talk about it in a different way. We've always been appreciative of the fan base. You hear positive things about it, but we are here to make sure that the next generation, can enjoy those same type of things. But as they go and we open up the gates, and then we get out of the obstacles of school and session, spring sports, and we still get into that June, July, August timeframe where people look at it and say, got to get out to LMCU ballpark to see what they've done. And then also on the other side, for the players aspect, knowing that, we worked with the Tigers and we really produced a facility for them that's going to be a long-term positive approach. They got in the clubhouse last year, in mid-June, and these guys were excited, but now we added the other half of the clubhouse with the batting tunnel and the weight room, and these guys are going to have facilities that, I always said, I want the best experience here in West Michigan until you get to the major leagues, and so far, we've done a pretty good job of that, but I think this is going to take it over the top.
Well, we really appreciate Jim Jarecki, General Manager, Vice President, Steve McCarthy, President of West Michigan Whitecaps, joining us here on Big League Dreaming, the podcast. Zach, you're the former intern. What are you looking forward to the most, even though you have to drive all the way from North Carolina to get here?
Championship, baby. Wouldn't expect anything less, right?
That always helps.
I like it. Well said.
All right, Zach, can you take us out and tell us where we can get more information about Big League Dreaming, the podcast?
Follow us on YouTube. You can find our podcast on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, @BLDpod, @BLDPOD. Thank you.